What's going on today? We have people cheering evil and even augmenting it. We can go back to the Bible and see that Habakkuk saw this and foretold it for us, what's happening now. We are told to strip away church doctrine that's not based on Scripture. Jeremiah prophesies that the Gentiles will come from around the world and confess that they inherited lies, vanities, things with no profit. You think showing up for church each week and punching a time clock's going to do it? No, there's a lot more work than that.
God sent him to me.
I guess that could be true, but take your seat next to me in the pews. This is season 2. Let's go. If you've watched any of my other videos, I keep going over how the Bible keeps repeating itself and events keep repeating themselves on a small, localized way, but then on a grand scale at the end. So if you watch my episode 39 about Daniel, I give the timeline. I don't give the timeline. Daniel gives the timeline of when the end will come. And if you remember from that video, or you know it anyway, that there's still 7 years left to be fulfilled, and approximately 7 years. And at the 3.5 year mark is when the destroyer will appear, and he will sit on the or go into the temple of God, claiming to be God, and people will be deceived by this. And this is the point I'm trying to get across: as we're all, not all of us, but some of us are going to be deceived when the Messiah comes. And that brings me to my 50th episode, which will be, I'm going to call it my pentasode, cute name. But that I'm going to show a picture of what I think the destroyer is actually going to look like. I have a pretty good idea. And stay tuned for that one. That'll be a good one. For the sake of this video, I just want you to realize that at the end of time is going to be another abomination of desolation, or an abomination that causes desolation, however you want to say it. But let's go right to Matthew and Matthew 24, and let's read what he says. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. And this is what I was referring to, that when the destroyer comes, he's going to stand in the holy place claiming to be God. We have clues that shows that the abomination that will cause desolation will repeat at the end. But Luke adds to this a little more, and let's see what Luke says. Luke 17:26, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. So he's now telling us that it's going to be a repeat of the days of Noah. So now what happened during the days of Noah? Noah was a really, the whole world was corrupted. The people were so corrupted that they couldn't be saved. They were intermingled with the, I guess, the DNA, I don't know how you want to say that, from the angels, because they had reproduced these giants and they had taken over the world. You had giant people, everybody was messed up, except for Noah and his family. And God wiped out the entire world and saved just the 8 righteous people. And that's sort of what's going to happen at the end. He even said that they were getting married, they would loved each other, because even evil people love. They can return love to other evil people. They can return love. They just don't have the ability to love everybody, which we're supposed to do as Christians. So let's dig into Habakkuk a little bit. He's a minor prophet. His book falls towards the end of the Old Testament, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 from the end. I just want to talk about Habakkuk's time. He was in the time before the inhabitants of Judea were carried away into Babylon. And he has some pretty interesting observations of what's going on, in his warnings. And if this whole abomination of desolation is going to repeat itself, these are the things that we're going to see ahead of time. And let's see if we can paste these to modern society. And I just want to start here with Habakkuk 1:4. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked do compass about the righteous. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. That's exactly what's happening now. What he's saying then is like their whole judgment system is being corrupted, and you have false witnesses. Not only false prophets back then, but you had false witnesses. In these trials, and people were escaping justice because there wasn't enough righteous people. They're getting surrounded by. If you saw my video on leaven, how the more things become leavened by hanging around bad people, then more and more are affected, and then everybody becomes bad. It mushrooms out. So this is what Habakkuk is lamenting. So as Habakkuk is lamenting what's going on, God tells him that he's going to raise up the Chaldeans, and God calls them a bitter and nasty nation and violent, to come and exact punishment on Judea. So this is what's going to happen. They got hauled away into Babylon. If you remember, Nebuchadnezzar was the king, and he said Nebuzaradan to take these people and carry them away. Now, I just want to read on with Habakkuk 1:13. Thou art purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look unto iniquity. Therefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he. This is what, if you look, that's what's happening today. A lot of us are holding our tongues and watching people get devoured. We have to speak up and point out injustices. That's what needs to happen. Everybody needs to be judged fairly. The things that we see going on today are the same things that Habakkuk saw before the carrying away and punishment of the people of Judea. We have people that celebrate injustice. It's a get them at all mentality. We don't care if it's right. We'll make up false testament, and false accusations, and we'll just go after people, and cheer it on. But the problem is, it's going to come for you. And this was frustrating for Habakkuk at the time. And if you look, before they were carried away in their abomination of desolation, we're getting close to our abomination of desolation, and we're starting to see the same trends here. This is getting to be alarming. So we need to take a step back, remember our roots, put down our anger, and just give righteous justice, which means is the chips fall where they may. If the facts fit, then the facts fit. We don't make up facts. We follow God because we have a conscience, and God's watching us to make sure that we judge each other fairly. I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to pick on China. And the only reason I pick on China is because I have family in China, so I feel I have the right to pick on China. China is a godless country and a godless society. And the abominations that you see, the injustice that you see there, that it angers the people there. They're angry by it, but they're caught in a system of injustice. Whereas when I say injustice, what do I say? You have 36 people witness a car hit a person in the street, recklessly, and the driver of the car was at fault. Well, the person who got hurt sues the driver. 36 witnesses shows up in court and gives their testimony of what happened. And the judge goes, yeah, I don't find enough evidence to rule in favor of the victim. I don't think the driver of the car is at fault. Well, why is that? Because somebody paid him money. The driver of the car paid him $10,000, and he got the justice he wanted. And this is the kinds of things that were happening in Judea. And this is the kinds of things that are happening here. Either, some people do it because they want to, because they're of the same, political party or whatever, or they do it for their own self-interest, because maybe they'll get political donations. But I think what I'm saying here is, this is the disadvantage of going to a godless society. When you have lawyers, prosecutors, judges, politicians, mayors, governors, presidents, anything. If you don't believe there's a higher power over you, then you do what's right in your own eyes. And if we saw in the book of Judges, this repeated itself all the time. Men would do what was right in their own eyes. That's exactly a quote from the Bible. And each time this happened, more and more wickedness would come out. God would raise up another judge that would get them out of trouble, bring them back to him. But the cycle kept repeating. I hope we can avoid this in our country. I just want to put that on the end. I think I'll leave it off here.